Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today's spawn in the southeast corner of the map. Playing in red, we got 3D Cat playing as the ayyubids, and his opponent in the northwest playing in blue. We got Demu representing Team Liquid playing as the Delhi Sultanate. Welcome everyone to Rocky Canyon. Two great civilizations, two interesting civilizations, two civilizations that I like to group together as the Berry brothers. Now you gotta put in the Abbasids as well, and I mean, to be fair, the Byzantines do like to go and bury sometimes for the olive oil. But anyway, we'll stick with the classics, right? The Delhi Sultanate, Ayyubids, the Abbasids. We've got Delhi Sultanate and Ayyubids today fighting off each other on Rocky Canyon. Going to be a fascinating matchup. And the reason why I say that is because Delhi Sultanate, of course, one of the strongest civilizations, posturing themselves primarily in the Feudal Age, obviously looking to get the sacred science and get a lot of military, Ghazi raiders, you name it, they've got it in the Feudal Age. To be fair, they don't get man at arms, but yeah, they get a lot. The Ayyubids, on the other hand, I think they are a great civilization in terms of how variable they can play things. Like, there's definitely a posturing towards the Castle Age for them generally at the moment, with the military wing giving them some breathing space to get to that Castle Age, and they often go for Growth Wing, which then gives them 8 villages. So, not really relevant in this particular matchup, but if your opponent goes 2 town centers as you're playing as the Ayyubids, well, don't worry about it too much, because you get to the Castle Age, you get magically 8 villages very quickly. It kind of narrows that gap a little bit, for sure. Now, the Ayyubids can be pretty aggressive in the Feudal Age themselves, get plenty of production, and with the military wing upgrade, they get the Desert Raiders every few minutes. One Desert Raider every 2 minutes can be very strong, and bear in mind as well, they're not an economic underdog by any means, because of the Golden Age. The Golden Age Tier 1 gives the villagers an extra 10% gather rate, which does take some time to get there. You need 10 buildings to do so, but once you do, it can be very strong. And in fact, Cat today are going to be taking up with the Eco Wing and go for growth. So, because going up to the Feudal Age with this is going to get 3 villagers, but also the Orchard is going to gain additional 50 food. And so you can see he's splitting up the villages, right? Because bear in mind, if you actually exhaust a single berry bush, you don't get the extra 50 food. So say he takes this berry bush completely, the tech up then comes in, he won't magically get 50 food on this bush. If it's gone, I'm afraid, guys. Tower Victory, landmark of choice for the Delhi Sultanate. Very, very commonly picked now, very popular. We don't see the Dome of the Faith all that much often, and it's understandable because you get the extra 20% attack speed. And, I mean, it's possible to say that maybe the Dome of the Faith has a bit more relevance in this game compared to other matchups, but the Ayyubids, with how strong they can be in the Feudal Age, it's not always the case that you're going to be out on the map super early. It does delay your timing as a Delhi to get on the map with scholars, but it's not a significant amount necessarily, considering you might be pressurized anyway before you can actually move out. So we have to see really how aggressive the Ayyubids actually play this. Now, the Ayyubids could potentially go for the Castle Age, even with the Growth Wing, to start off in the Feudal Age. 3 villages does often help. Yeah, it looks like maybe that's the case. He's going to get an outpost anyway. I mean, to be fair, this would be a good spot to get an outpost regardless if you're going to the Castle Age, considering there are 2 key resources, food and gold. So I love this play by 3D Cat, but it could be a posturing towards a Castle Age. We'll have to see exactly how he plays this one out. Now, I'd like to say, whilst we have a bit of downtime, of course, both players gearing up to that Feudal Age, although Wheelbarrow coming in, just to mention that for the Ayyubids. I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone supporting the channel, whether it be on YouTube or on Twitch. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Helps me do the content I love to do. A bit more than just a hobby, you know, because... I mean, obviously I'm doing this definitely as a hobby and I enjoy it, but because of the level of support recently, I've been able to do a bit more time on it, and means more content, means more casts, means more build order guides, whatever. I've definitely been enjoying Age of Empires 4 content recently. I did a bit of Stormgate here and there. Sometimes it wasn't as fun to cast. It was still great because it's a new game and it's still pretty cool. There's just something about Age of Empires, right? It's just, I came from Age of Empires 2 and now we're Age of Empires 4. It's a special, special franchise. Going to open it with a stable. We thought about it. Going to place it a little bit differently. But stable units will be popping out soon for 3D Cat. And a special thank you as well for everyone that's gifted subs today. Psychred and Salties in particular. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And anyone that's subbed themselves. Very much appreciated. Now, with the outpost up and running, gives them a bit more defenses, of course, and Delhi now thinking about maybe getting a scholar out into the stable. That's exactly happening. So, efficient production is an upgrade for the Delhi Sultanate that allows the scholars to garrison inside production buildings and give them an 100% 100% production speed. So, there's basically essentially a double stable production right now of Ghazi raiders. Getting across the map gives that mobility in a really nice fashion. Question is, what can he damage, right? With the outpost there, it's a good kind of defensive point for the ayyubids. It looks like could be adding in an archery range as well. So going to be getting horseman archers. We're going to see this. We see this a lot actually. I feel like the ayyubids are a very nice versatile civilization. We mentioned it earlier how they can go castle age with a bit of military backing with the military wing, depending on the civilization matchup. But they can equally do the strategy really well of a feudal age army being on the map. Now, I wonder if Golden Age Tier 1 is in yet. It isn't just in yet. Just needs one more building and he will be there. And there it is. Has been built. So villagers now gathering 10% faster. Going to be great for that ayyubid economy. Now, whilst the Ghazi Raiders aren't really killing anything, they are causing a bit of idle time, which is certainly helpful. Keeps on pumping those horsemen. Bear in mind with this map positioning, it does allow the Delhi Sultanate to get on top of the map resources, whether it be berries or deer camp. How long that'll last for, that's the real question. Because it looks like blacksmith upgrades coming in for 3D Cat. Blacksmith upgrades are already coming in for demo. They are free for the Delhi Sultan, of course, just needs the blacksmith itself, and is already going to get iron undermesh rather on the way. Double broad axe coming in as well. Let's be careful. Now, there's a couple more villagers then he can actually garrison inside. Might pick off a villager, does pick off a villager, likely to back on out. Although there's only 6 villagers garrisoned inside the town centre, so it's not eating too much, town centre fire. Doesn't have iron undermesh just yet. Does lose one horseman on the retreat, so good pick off there by the ayyubids. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, there are those sacred sites. He's just waiting for Sanctity to come in, but he's ready and waiting, right? He's going to cap that as soon as that tech comes in. This is where it comes a little bit careful. We've got to be careful as the ayyubids because he needs to start venturing out on the map to deny the sacred sites at some point. Getting another archery range just to get, better production, of course. But it does feel like he's actually opting for the castle edge. Yeah, I think he's definitely opting for it. Look at this. He's getting arrow slits and he's getting the upgrade for the outpost as well. Just to make sure it isn't torched down too easily. And he's got a lot of village and gold, right? So Demu spots that. So I think Demu needs to be a bit more aggressive in getting the sacred sites. No reason not to. Because it's unlikely it's going to be contested anytime soon for that. Does take down the horseman. Arrow slit's certainly helping out. But it's causing a lot of idle time. So all these diving in and out, whilst he will lose a couple of Ghazi Raiders, it's buying him time, delaying the tech up to the castle age, which is kind of quite handy actually. And he might actually get another villager out of this, although maybe not. The body blocking coming in for 3D Cat. Nicely done. Does get a villager in the end. Going to get surround on the archers. Probably takes that fight, actually. Yeah, does take a couple of archers out. Now has to back away. Town centre and archers and the tower working hard at that. But look at the gold income, right? He's really struggling on that. It really pushes the balance of the economy out of kilt. Because the ayyubids have got plenty of food, just doesn't have the gold. So he even got the sacred site, which is quite cheeky. Going to get the sacred site in the north as well. Iron undermesh just about to come in, so these guys ready to be able to tank in a little bit better, although just going there a little bit too early before the tech up comes in. Snipes a couple more units. Archers going to be moving out. Ghazi Raiders trying to stop their decap, but I don't think he'll manage it with only 2 Ghazi Raiders. It needs a couple more, but military numbers aren't looking too great on this side of the map. Oh, he's going to engage with the... I'm not sure about this. I think the Ghazi Raiders could get good value. He's trying to hold on for it as long as possible, waiting for the archers to come involved. In fact, this might be clutch play because he does have Tower of Victory. Bear in mind, like these archers are just straight up better for Demi. Doesn't necessarily have the numbers he wants, but it does have a Ghazi Raider charging on in. And so he's going to hold on to that sacred site. Great play. Sacrificing 2 horsemen just for the extra time. And he's going to get extra gold trickling because of that. Definitely worth it, I think, in the end. As long as he keeps the sacred site for at least another minute or so. Now, not actually producing any horsemen, and the issue is with the horsemen for 3D Cat is that actually Ghazi Raiders just straight up beat them in equal numbers. So it's a tricky situation because it might have been a better option to go for spearmen archers, but I don't know. But then you sacrifice mobility. He's not really making any horsemen anyway because he needs the food for the tech up, right? I mean, he's got so much food banked up. It feels like he's just stuck in the feudal age. He wants to get to the castle stage, but can't get the gold he needs easily. 3 villages were garrisoned inside there for quite a while. In fact, look at that. Because of the 3 sacred sites, look at that. Delhi actually going to go to the castle age faster. That's actually a really bad sign for the ayyubids. That's a terrible sign. That's a horrible sign. Especially because behind all of this, he's got a barracks running. He's probably going to get Gulam. He's got stable, possibly for lancers. Heavily armored units going to pop out soon. And bear in mind, like the Delhi, it does take time for the tech ups to come in terms of research for the standing army, whether it be archers or Ghazi raiders. But it doesn't have that many numbers of them. So I think after this, it's probably going to pump out a lot of heavily armored units anyway, in the form of the Gulam and lancers potentially. We shall see. Going to get Steeled Area, it's free after all. Might as well. But that sacred site's still not decapped. This is huge. It's like right next to the ayyubids. And it hasn't been able to keep hold of it. Going to go for a stable now. Going to be adding camel lancers. Triple stable. Quadruple stable, in fact. Actually went up with the cult. Oh god, we missed that for a second. Yeah, unfortunately it's an overlay issue on the UI. And I missed it. I didn't expect it, but it was the culture wing. He went for advancement for make it quicker and cheaper. And so it's going to be mass camel lancer play, which I like, by the way, heavily. Especially if there's a posturing towards Ghazi raiders or lancers. The reason for that is because, or even man-at-arms even. The reason for that is because the camel lancers, of course, have camel unease, which reduces the damage output of enemy cavalry by 20%, which is pretty good. Destruction value, what does that mean in the chat? It's essentially how much, the value of the stuff that you've killed. So, yeah, that's essentially that. So if you've killed a unit, the value of that unit gets added onto that. So you can see, Demu's had, he's killed a decent amount. Sorry, 3 cats killed a certain amount. Because I think Demu's lost a lot of units, right? Trying to defend that sacred site and whatnot. Camel Lancer on the map. And now sacred sites are going to be decapped, but 2 relics, 3 relics, in fact, already been picked up by the Delhi, right? Because he's got the scholars, he was in position already, and that's so huge. Like, in a blink of an eye, the Delhi have mopped up the relics, which is something the ayyubids generally want to do and love to do. You're very welcome. Welcome, Eunice. Hope you're doing well. Now, if you guys are watching on YouTube and thinking, who am I talking to? I am streaming live on Twitch these days, so it's worth coming in and saying hi if you enjoy the content and want to see me live. I'll leave a link in the video description. Heading further forward now. Now, you can see the purple hue on the horseman. That's the Camelanese. But it's going to lose most of the camels, so got to be careful. Does have a decent number of archers, but I think Delhi Sultanate just have more. This is not a great situation for Cat. He's kind of caught here with the archers. That's not really what you want. He has to retreat, but he's going to lose army on the retreat. This is massive here for Demu. This could be a game-changing winning game. And this could be a game-winning move. Plenty of man-at-arms. Plenty of lancers. Charging on in. Cat lost a lot, guys. Make no mistake about it. He lost so much on the retreat. Does have a couple of camel lancers, a bit of defensive reinforcements coming in. Defender's advantage, but if those lancers go down, that means no forward position, no forward front line. And it's looking a bit dicey. Camel lancers, even with the camel alis, they're still getting some value. Man-at-arms too. Added in a couple of crossbows here, Demu, as well as the archers, and pushed off of gold once again. Does have the gold at the back of the base, which is going to be handy for that gold income. Needs it, really. Camel lancers posturing around the back, just to deny the gold, but Demu is in all sorts of locations on the map. Demu is, I think he's off of gold temporarily now. Let's just check. Yeah, he's off of gold, which is not ideal. But he can still make those food and wood units, whether it be Ghazi raiders, spearmen, or archers. Upgrades coming in slowly but surely. And certainly Larnac says in the chat, having 3 sacred sites for long is it's quite huge. Absolutely, 100% it is. And Demu extracted a lot of value out of that. Could potentially get the central sacred site. It's got map positioning. Now, because he went with the House of Learning, by the way, it does give him access to certain texts, whether it be Honed Blades or... That's kind of a nice upgrade, actually, I've got to say. An extra +3 attack. We do often see the compound of the defender, giving them cheaper keeps and access to the village fortresses upgrade, which allows them to scale the eco a lot more. Although villages might have to back away. There's quite a few camel lancers, although they're pretty weak, I think. They're okay. There's a spearman after all, and then there's a crossbow and another spearman and lancer. He should win that fight, actually. Villagers are absolutely fine to be out there. Lancers pick off a Ghazi Raider. Knight chasing away the Camel Lancer. It looks like, you know, the ayyubids are trying to get some rating value, but demu he's all across the map, right? Just sheer unit numbers wise, he's doing absolutely fine, and so it keeps all the positions closely monitored. But with 4 relics and 2 sacred sites, gold income, even being off of gold, not mining it, it's almost like he doesn't have to. Like he's still getting a decent amount of gold per minute. Although he does have 9 villagers now on the gold. Still cycling through. Should win that fight, at least with the horsemen. Yeah, the Camel Lancer is pretty weak as well, so should be able to. Spearman going to dive in, get a couple of hits on the Ghazis. Or the horsemen, I should say. I don't know what some Ghazis for. I meant the horsemen. Quite passive. I mean, it's not really passive. They're both kind of running around the map, but nothing massive happening in terms of military fights. Gonna go for the middle now. That sacred site is already capped. Can't decap it really with the military numbers he's got. Can I just say one thing? There's 76 military versus 26. That's kind of bad. Kind of bad. Delhi are pumping out, right? Comes down to efficient production. They're definitely efficient at producing. Getting gold from the sacred sites in a massive way. This is looking dicey. 4 relics as well. Look at that, 76 military. Honed Blades is in, by the way. 1 Camel Lancer on those villagers. Gotta be careful. There's different... yeah, he takes it out pretty quickly. Holy moly. This is looking dicey for Cat. Like, he's got similar economy in some ways, but what he doesn't have in comparison is the military numbers, right? He's really struggling on that. Just took some suboptimal fights. It's kind of hurting him a bit. Walling up on the deer camp, just keep that nice and safe from raids. Coming around the front, village on the woodline. Cat's gotta be careful, might lose a couple here. Oh, he attacked the building, didn't see the villagers, I think. Oh, a couple of lancers trying to get some value, but look at the crossbows in the right position for Cat, nicely done. Gonna snipe that out, but the problem is, this is a massive force. Doesn't actually have much siege here, the Delhi, but it doesn't quite matter when you've got that number of spearmen and lancers. You can just torch and brute force your way things down. Does have a Manjanik and also a Dervish. And the Manjanik could get some good value against the infantry, but it is only 1. And bear in mind, these are man-at-arms. Ultimately, man-at-arms, they can tank pretty decent against a Manjanik fire shot, and so they can get on top of that. There's not much here for 3 Cat. Doesn't have the military numbers. Manjanik does deploy, but again, it takes some damage on those units. But I mean, Manjanik exposed, gets taken out in a blink of an eye, and there it is. I mean, it does take a bit of a shot on the archers, but I think this could be the tap out. I mean, ultimately, he's going to get overrun, peeling away 3 man-at-arms on the eco here. Villagers here going to be absolutely slaughtered if they don't move out of the way, and this is not great. Cat is really struggling now. He's completely overrun. Their sacred sites for demu really scaled so nicely. He got the free economy, the pocket economy, the deer camps, whatever he needed. He's got a great economy with the free tech ups as well. Now demu just going to camp this completely. Cat really struggling, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Demu takes game number 1 on Rocky Canyon. The Delhi triumphant over the ayyubids. Hope you guys enjoyed this castle game. If you're watching on YouTube, take care, and see you next time on maybe the second game of the set.